The latest from our daily newsletter at podnews.net. Good news! Cross-platform podcast app Pocket Casts is scaling back up, the company posts in an update. In a comment perhaps aimed at the buggy Apple Podcasts, they've revealed that the first thing they're working on is how quickly you get new episodes after a podcast author publishes them. They're also working on app translations. Emmeline Berry is rejoining the team too as content curator and podcast liaison. Why did Amazon get into podcasting? For a share of its growing ad revenue, according to an interview with Steve Boom, the head of Amazon Music. Paid podcast subscriptions have helped the Tommy, Hector and Larita podcast see an increase of 59% in their monthly revenue. That's according to data shared by Acast today. Acast has also described Triton Digital's podcast ranker as a pretty average buying tool. Guy Scott Wilson was commenting in an Australian interview. Acast doesn't participate in it, funnily enough. For many of us, it's almost time to renew our membership of the Podcast Academy. The organisation has said that they'll now renew automatically. You'll get an email 2 weeks beforehand. Podcast discovery and listening app Moonbeam now offers ratings and reviews powered by Podchaser. It's the latest company to use Podchaser's data. Triton Digital has introduced a shared listeners tool within podcast host Omny Studio, allowing podcasters to see how many people are listening to more than one show from a publisher. We've a deeper dive into the tool today. Podcasting should be easier than ever for new Blueberry customers. The company has released a new easy onboarding process to get them started within minutes. Podcast production company Resonate has launched its own iOS app, which lets you make production comments on episodes, review and approve them, and record remote interviews. Podscribe has an embedded podcast transcript player. We've put a recent episode of Podnews on our embedded players page so you can see how it works. A new podcast report will be released in Germany on Thursday, hitting the right tone. Germany's podcast boom will be released by the Otto Brenner Foundation. It's covered by Berlin's Der Tagesspiegel today. iHeartMedia has launched Cool Zone Media, a progressive podcast network. And Osman Faruqi has been promoted to head of audio at Schwartz Media in Australia. And in podcast news, Evo Terra is trying a system that should boost the listening audience of podcast pontifications to 10,000 listeners. But he doesn't think it'll work. He appears to have called Tanner Campbell's bluff. Tanner's system involves spending $5 a day on Facebook ads. Tanner says, "I will promise that it'll be a significantly higher audience in 1 year than the existing audience size. We've ordered a large box of popcorn." Elsewhere, Conan O'Brien needs a friend and a stage. The show is to record live on stage in Los Angeles on November the 3rd. Tickets go on sale on Thursday. And the F-Boy podcast is the latest Audio Boom original and launches on Thursday. The show is hosted by 3 actors and promises to give, quotes, plenty of hot takes on all of your favourite characters and pop culture icons from Harry Potter to Henry VIII. Niche. And that's the latest from our newsletter. For all the links, we're at podnews.net.